What's going on, guys? It is Nundark, and in today's video I have a question for all of you. What would you spend $100 on in the Pokemon trading card game? What would you spend $1,000 on? And if you had $10,000 to spend on cards, what would you choose to spend that $10,000 on? You know, some of this might be just daydreaming and wishful thinking. Some of it could be strategic planning. I am going to my first ever Collecticon this year with some buddies to the one in Kansas City. And it got me thinking, you know, how much am I going to try to save before Collecticon? And then what am I going to try and acquire while I'm there? You know, I'm going to bring some of my own cards and use them as some trade leverage, but then also hopefully a little bit of cash. And I started doing research on what's at Collecticon. It's everything. So when the world's your oyster in terms of Pokemon cards, I don't want to go in blind. I don't want to go in blind with no plan, aimlessly look around, and very quickly that will lead to kind of a cluster of a collection with no direction, and then also probably a blown budget and a lot of lost money or a lot of spent money. So if you go in with a plan and you kind of know what you're looking for and what you hope to walk away from the weekend with, I think it'll go a lot better. So it had me thinking, you know, if someone gave me $100 or I saved up $100, what are 5 things that I would kind of pick between and choose to spend that 100 on? And maybe as I walk through 100, 1,000, and 10,000 here, it helps you also think, do you agree with some of these? Are there other things you would spend your money on? We're all different collectors here and we all collect for a different reason. Or am I completely off base? Are any of the things that I'm about to say just something you would never want to spend your money on, or you don't think they're good investments? Let me know in the comments. So if I had $100, one of the first things I'd take a look at is an Evolving Skies Elite Trainer Box. We know what Evolving Skies is doing. It is just continuing to climb, and it is turning into, I think, undeniably the best set from Sword and Shield, but it is just turning into a juggernaut that is very hard to afford. And Elite Trainer Boxes are no exception. Not the Pokemon Center ones, just the standard ones are approaching $100 in value. So the first thing I'd take a look at is getting one of those for my collection and keeping it sealed. That's very important. The second thing I'd take a look at is a Pokemon Center 151 ETB. I know it's still a recent set, but I'm a firm believer that 151 will go down as a top 10 set of all time. And it continues to fly off shelves. It's now 3 sets old, soon to be 4 sets old, and it is still hard to find. Everyone loves opening it. It's going to be a set that 10, 20 years from now, if you can get your hands on 151, it's going to be gold. And I think a Pokemon Center ETB for $100 right now would be a wise pickup. The third thing is a Sword and Shield UPC. The Sword and Shield UPCs are starting to show a climb in value. It took a while to get there. They were heavily printed. The demand was not there, but now as the pack selection within them is being noticed more as a huge strength, and there's 3 Evolving Skies packs in each UPC. Sword and Shield sets are climbing in value. They're running out of print or out of their reprint window. So just everything in that Sword and Shield UPC is going to be more desirable. The supply is running out, and therefore that Charizard UPC is going to not be at $100 for much longer, if any longer. If you can even find one right now for $100, but I would for sure want to take a look at picking one of those up. The fourth thing is the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. It's only going up in value right now. It's one of my favorite cards from Paldea Evolved, and it's currently in the mid-60s, approaching $70 in value and showing no signs of slowing down. It's the second priciest card in Paldea Evolved behind the SIR Iono, and I'd probably, since this isn't, you know, it's what would I do with $100, I'd probably pick up the Tyranitar illustration rare with it. I think those 2 cards for $100 would be a wise pickup. Obviously that might only total 90, but you get the point. And I think those are 2 cards that are going to be popular and go up in value over time. The fifth and final thing I would consider picking up with $100 is the iconic stained glass tag team promo card from Sun and Moon featuring Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. It's that stained glass, super colorful, beautiful promo card. I'd get that in a PSA 10 copy, and I'd pair that with a PSA 10 copy of the similar looking, not stained glass card from Hidden Fates. So I could probably get both of those in a PSA 10 for $100, and not only do I want them for my graded slab shelf, but I just think they are good buys and good pickups for $100 and 2 cards that I am looking to add to my collection at some point. Now, if I had $1,000 to spend on Pokemon, opens up a lot more doors, and you can start to get into booster boxes or pricier booster boxes. Maybe Grail cards that you've been wanting to pick up, but didn't have the money or kind of the plan to get them. So with $1,000, the first thing I would look at is two booster boxes of Evolving Skies. I talked about what that set's doing, and right now you can get a booster box for anywhere between $400 to $500. So I'd look at picking up two of them and keeping both of them sealed. I think it is the Sword and Shield equivalent of the tag team box from Sun and Moon. So I don't see it slowing down anytime soon, so I think I'd look to acquire two of those. The second thing I would take a peek at is getting two booster box cases of Paldea Evolved. Right now you can still get a case of Paldea Evolved, which is 6 booster boxes, for right around $550 to $600. If you could get two and get a seller to give you both for $1,000, I think that is only going to be that's only going to prove fruitful for you long term. Paldea Evolved is a sleeper set, but it's kind of becoming known right now that it is a set that is possibly short printed, super desirable by people, very playable, and the artwork is inarguably gorgeous. So there's a lot of big hitter cards in there, like Iono, the Raichu, the Tyranitar, the Magikarp I talked about. The promo card's gorgeous. There's just a lot to like about that set, and to get 12 booster boxes at basically $85 to $90 a piece just seems like a home run. The third thing I would take a peek at is a PSA 10 copy of the Moonbryon, the iconic alt art Umbreon from Evolving Skies. I would look at getting a PSA 10 copy of that. Right now, that's north of $900. I see that being kind of the Latias card of Sun and Moon in Sword and Shield. And I just see that being a 4-figure card pretty soon here. So to get a copy of that in a PSA 10, I don't think would be a bad pickup. The fourth thing I would take a look at is getting 10 151 UPCs. I think 151 again is a top set of all time. I think the UPCs are super fun. I think my wife and I like to open UPCs on date nights. So I think I'd maybe open 5 of them over the course of the next month or two and enjoy that with her. I'd keep 5 sealed as well just to see what they do over time. I think once 151 is out of its reprint window in a couple years' time, I think a UPC of 151 and getting those 16 packs and those 3 promo cards is going to be something a lot of people are going to want. And having sealed copies, we've seen what Japanese 151 booster boxes are doing right now, just soaring in value. I think it'll take longer for the English products to do that, but I do think at some point it will happen. Speaking of Japanese 151, the fifth thing I would consider, and probably most likely thing I'd pick up, is 5 booster boxes of Japanese 151. They're north of 200 a piece right now. That's almost doubled in value since they first came out. I think I started getting into Japanese 151 right around the $140 to $150 price point. Now I can't find them for under $210. So if I could pick up 5 of those and keep those sealed, when those are done being printed and sold in stores, and you have a sealed Japanese 151 booster box that has a Master Ball in it and, seeded hits, I think in 5 to 10 years' time, that could very easily be a $1,000 box, and that is no hyperbole. So I think I'd look at getting 5 of those. Now, you have 10 grand to spend on Pokemon cards. What are you doing? That's a figure that not a lot of us can fathom spending on cardboard, let alone spending at one time. And maybe it's something that over the course of our life we spend on Pokemon. If someone gave you $10,000, or you saved avidly, or you had a really good bonus and you wanted to blow it at Collecticon, not advising you to do that, but what would you spend 10 grand on? And this is very much wishful thinking, but I started to think, what have I kind of always deemed unattainable that with $10,000 would be attainable? And where would I want to park my money there? The first thing I would take a look at is getting the top 3 chase cards from every Sword and Shield set and every Scarlet and Violet set. And then with any leftover money, start to go backwards into Sun and Moon and get the top 3 chase cards there. I think you could conquer probably 20 sets and get the top 3 cards from each set and then put those in a binder or get them all graded. I think that would be such a cool way to spend 10 grand and just really capture kind of the iconic cards that make up each of these sets that we've all kind of loved and enjoyed opening. And to get the chase cards and have them all in one binder, when we all know how hard it is to pull these cards, we probably all have a couple and maybe 1 or 2 from each set or your favorite sets, but to have all 3 from every set in recent memory in one binder, I think would be pretty sweet. The second thing I would take a look at getting with 10 grand is 3 tag team boxes, which are going for about 2,500 a piece right now, maybe 3 grand, but I'd get the iconic super pricey tag team booster box, get 3 sealed, and then with the leftover money, get 1 to 2 copies of a PSA 10 of the Latios tag team card. I think that is a gorgeous card. It's where their necks kind of create that iconic heart, and it's the red and blue Latios card. 2 copies of that and 3 tag team booster boxes. Pretty money well spent with 10 grand, if you ask me. The third thing I'd take a look at getting is master sets, probably raw cards, but master sets of the e-reader sets. That's Aquapolis, that is Skyridge, that's Expedition Base. If I could get those are my favorite sets of all time. If I could get a master set of all the hollows and non-hollows and reverse hollows of those 3 sets, and just kind of conquer the e-reader E-series era, that would be such a fun way to spend $10,000 and kind of achieve one of my lifelong collecting goals, just being that they are my favorite sets. The fourth thing I would look at is getting 4 cases of Evolving Skies. 4 cases would be 24 booster boxes of Evolving Skies, currently priced at around $450 a piece. If those become $1,000 boxes in the next 5 years, you'd be looking at sitting on $24,000 in Evolving Skies product. Spending 10 to have 24,000, and that's not out of the realm of possibility, is a insanely profitable investment over a 5 to 10 year span. So that would be something that I obviously couldn't afford or can't afford, but if I did have 10,000 to spend on Pokemon cards, I would heavily look at cases of Evolving Skies booster boxes. The fifth thing I would look at is getting a master set of the raw copies of base set Shadowless First Edition. That's a mouthful, but that is the most pricey cards of all time. It is the original print, Shadowless print, First Edition print run of base set. And if I could get all 102 cards in First Edition, Shadowless, all the hollows, get them all sleeved up and put in a binder, that would be something it would be all-time bragging rights, top tier collection ad. And to do that with $10,000, I think is achievable. To do it with graded slabs, absolutely not. And I tried to look up some of the values of these cards, and you have a few over 1,000. You have several between. All the hollows are basically 250 to 500, let's say 700 for each of the hollows. So pretty quickly you take up over half of that 10 grand. But then I think with the rest of it, you could get a raw copy of every other card. And maybe have a little bit left to spare to binder them all, maybe send some in for grading. But I just think pursuing a Shadowless First Edition master set is a pretty all-time feat. So that was a lot. I hope this did nothing but kind of get you thinking about maybe strategically saving for Pokemon product instead of just, every set that comes out, spend, and you kind of just always are chasing something, but you never know what. Or maybe this just is fun for you to think about, and daydreaming we all love to do about the hobby we love. So hopefully I, can save some money and go to Collecticon. Certainly not with 10,000, but the goal would be to look at that $1,000 savings goal and then take a peek at the 5 things I mentioned in this video and see which of those is out there at Collecticon and which of those is the kind of the thing I want to walk away with. So yeah, hope you like this video. Thanks again for all the support. Subscribe for more videos. We have a lot coming up. Be a good human, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.